You excited? What noise does a drone make? What noise does a drone make? Yeah, all right. Hey, Stu from UAVfutures here, and well, what's the temperature where you are? Because right now it's about 2 degrees Celsius, so it's absolutely freezing here in the studio. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. I'll put it on the screen anyway. Hopefully you're having some warm weather. Let me know if you are. But what we're checking out today's a bit of a fun video, a little bit different. We're going to be having a quick look at the Cine B75 from iFlight. iFlight's been making some really cool stuff like the Turbo B75. You can go watch that, a little card should pop up there. Today, what this is about having some fun, flying around, getting some HD footage out of a tiny little craft. What we're going to do, put it on the bench, break it down, quick look at the text and the specs, and then we're going to find out, is this the right sort of craft for you? And I do have some, I guess, towards the end of the video, some important things to mention, because I don't think this is going to suit everybody, and there is only a special niche that this is going to be going after, but those people are going to absolutely love it. So is that going to be, I guess, the quad for you? And also, when we're in the field, we'll fly around, have some fun. I've got the nieces and nephews out at the in-laws' place. We do a bit of drone hunting, chasing around. Everyone's having a good laugh. It's just a good time, and that's what FPV is all about. Just about sharing the joys of flight, having some fun, and if you can do that with your family, well, as far as I'm concerned, there's nothing better. But anyway, let's kick it off, stick it on the bench, break it down, and then quickly go out to the field, have some fun, and yeah, show you what the iFlight Cine B75 does well, and also some things it could improve on. So as a bit of an overview, what it is, oh, and you can see mine is absolutely filthy too. I've got to apologize. It is covered in grass because it's been used quite a lot actually, because look, it is a pretty good little filming rig. That's what it is. It's made to record some HD footage in this tiny little form factor. That seems to be all the rage right now. You take it out of the box, you bind it up, it can run on a 2 or a 3S. It says you can change, you need to change the motors and stuff on 4S, so I wouldn't recommend running a 4S on this without doing some serious little upgrades. And that's it. It's a little bind and fly. It doesn't come with a battery. It's got an XT30 on there, and it can capture some of that juicy HD footage, or that's its plan anyway, in a tiny little form factor. Now, very quickly, because I am freezing, let's go through some of the components we've got on here. Starting at the outside, we're going to talk about the frames. You just got these little plastic frame parts, which look mine. You can see how dirty it is. It has held up very well. I haven't crashed on the road or anything like that, though. Underneath, we have some 10,000 kV 1103 motors, some little tri-blade props on the top. I did get some spares that came in my box. It didn't come with a battery, which was a bit of a pain. Towards the middle, we've got, you know, it's pretty standard stuff. A 4-in-1 12 amp ESC, an F4 flight controller with an OSD, and then also, look, I've got a FreeSky receiver. I put a bunch of different receiver options down there. You do have quite a lot, but the important part, and we have a little changeable channel VTX, so you can change the power channel, all that sort of stuff. It's on the Tramp Smart Audio protocol, but on the front, what we've got in the FPV camera side of things is the CATX Turtle. CATX has been absolutely killing it lately, and so if you flip it over underneath, you can see in here, and I've done a few little mods to mine. I've kind of put a little soldering mark in there so I can access the button. We have a little space for our SD card. So you can see I've got a little SD card in here. So when you're flying around, you can record some HD footage. Not only can you see some DVR, but also you can record some, I guess, better footage than you would normally get into your goggles anyway. You can take it back and I guess watch some of that recording in HD. Now I've got to say the HD recording isn't perfect, and that's what we're going to look at when we're out in the field. It's nowhere near GoPro quality, but it is better than, I guess, we don't get any of the static or anything like that that you normally get with the breakup in your goggles. Now moving on, looking at the design of the thing, I'd say, look, it's pretty generic. It's just like a normal flat packed kind of drone with 2 bits of carbon, a little brace on the bottom, some protected props so you can bounce around and get off things, which is great for filming. It's not doing anything ground breaking in its form, but its function, it works well. So look, the design I'm more than happy with. There's not too much I would like to change. I guess I wasn't a big fan of having the button covered up here. I prefer maybe a manual start and stop when it comes to starting my HD recording, although it's meant to come set up in the OSD. You're meant to be able to do that. Mine didn't come working like that, so you needed to play around a little bit, and look, I found that a little bit frustrating. That's why I put a little soldering iron here and made it so I could manually access the button. Moving on, talking about the quality of the thing, look, iFlight, they're knocking out, I guess, fairly decent drones. I've been enjoying them in the past, and I'd probably give it about a 7.5, maybe an 8 out of 10 in terms of quality. I like I've got an XT30 on here. Everything, I haven't had any issues anyway, and I've been flying this thing, you can see, quite a bit. And then talking about the pros and the cons. Well, the first one I'm going to say, something I don't like is I feel like it's kind of pricey. I know you're paying for a HD camera and the turtles in themselves aren't cheap, or the Turtle V2, they are not cheap, but it's still a fair bit of money if you just want to get a little whoop to fly around, because I think it's coming in around the $200 mark. I'm not too sure. You can check the links down below. But then if we look at the pros, it's running on a 3S, which I think is what you need for one of these little crafts. It gives it a little bit more power. We've got an XT30 adapter. It's got smart audio. You're recording HD. You've got some solid bumpers. It's taken some serious abuse. It can go relatively quick, so quicker than some of the other 2S variants out there, and it seems to be fairly reliable so far in the test that I've been putting it through. So it's got its pros and cons. I'm going to say don't get this one if you're just after pure flight experiences, because there are other things that fly better for much cheaper. This is definitely made for a purpose for people who want to do some filming. Maybe you're flying around indoors, maybe you're flying around little car shows, or you want something that can also record but protect the props as well, so you're not going to get any scratches, you're not going to hurt anyone. And that was definitely the plan when I went out to fly anyway. I thought it's a very safe little drone. It's very lightweight. It's not going to scare anybody. So I thought I'd chase around my daughter, my nieces and nephews, have a bit of fun, fly around and share some FPV with the family. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Let's jump out to the field and check out the little iFlight CineWhoop HD, I should say CineB HD, and have some fun in 3, 2, 1. Radio out at the in-laws place FPV. It's all about a bit of fun. I got the CineWhoop HD from iFlight. What I'm going to do, we're going to see what the other people think about it as well, but let's have some fun now. I'm going to chase the cousins, nieces and nephews and my daughter around and just have a bit of fun. All right, let's do it and check it out what it's like in HD. You excited? What noise does a drone make? What noise does a drone make? Yeah, all right. The radios, here we go, jumping right in. I don't know how many 2-year-olds make drone noises, but my daughter absolutely loves them. But I guess let's jump in, talk about this in 3 parts. We're going to talk about the DVR image that you could see. You can see that in the top left. Then we're going to talk about the HD, some of the artifacts and the pros and cons, and then we're going to have a look at the actual flight characteristics towards the end. While chasing around the nieces and nephews, the kids, having a bit of fun, sharing the drone hobby with people. Given, I don't know, I can't even remember what game we called this, but pretty much it was hide and seek, chasing the drones around, but they gave up hiding and just wanted to run around and be chased. But here we go, flying this thing around. And first things first, if you look at the DVR in the top left-hand corner, I'm going to say, maybe I'll put this full screen actually when we're flying around on this. It's not the clearest. The colors aren't the biggest and the brightest, and it's not the most vivid image. And that's because you're sacrificing quite a bit to fly around when you're flying around HD. And that's been a common complaint when it comes to the Turtle V2. Moving on, talking about the HD footage itself, I think it's more than adequate. So if we're looking at this, it's not going to be GoPro style whatsoever, but it is going to be a lot nicer than the DVR. It's going to be brighter, it's going to be sharper, and because we're flying around with HD footage, you're not getting any of the static coming in or anything like that. So if you just want to make some flight videos, it's going to be significantly better than just recording it into your goggles, or that's my interpretation of it anyway. And I think if for most people, it's going to be more than adequate to show off your videos with friends and family and just have a bit of fun flying around the house, recording some cool stuff, maybe showing it back to the kids on the TV, all that sort of stuff. But you are also going to notice some artifacts. So if you look at the top right of the screen right now, you notice when it's sort of on the gray sky or something, sometimes we're getting a few little, I don't know, look if this could just be my encoding of it, and I'll have to see when it's up on YouTube, but we're getting a few little breakups and all that sort of stuff, and some strange artifacts that are coming through, some strange white lines in the top of the screen. So that just seems to be the grass and everything where it's changing seems to be fine, but when it's just a static image like the white of the clouds, it's definitely looking a little bit weird, or at least when I'm looking at it here. Now moving on to the flight characteristics, you can see just did a bit of a flip. You definitely do have a little bit of pep. It's definitely not as nice as, say, something like the Tiny Hawk V2, which is just made for flying. But this thing, it does have a little bit of power. It is on a 3S, so you definitely can still rip this thing around. But it is not going to be as nice as just a pure dedicated little flight thing. You are going to have to make some sacrifices because you're flying around with HD. And I did notice too, a little bit of prop wash when you come out of some steep dives. It does bobble a little bit if it's going a little bit too fast than it would like. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think it's worth it having a drone like this that can record HD? And I would say for me, only get this. This is really aimed first and foremost at people who want to record in HD. If you just want to focus on flight experience, well then get one that doesn't have the HD recorder. Rightio, so there it is. There's my review of the Cinebee 75 from iFlight, and I'm going to say it does its job well. Is it my favorite drone? No, but it's not going to be made for everybody. If you want to just get out there and fly around, you're much better off, I think, with something like the Tiny Hawk 2S, which is unbelievable. You can go watch that. That video should pop up there. This one, it's got a very specific audience in mind. If you're the sort of person who wants to fly around, you want to fly around safely with a lightweight drone, have some fun, still get an okay flight experience, but your main part is capturing that footage, this is definitely a solid option. So if you want to capture the footage and getting the HD, if that's what you're all about, check out something like this. If you're more after the flight experience, well, that's where you're better off getting one of the non-HD variants. They fly better, they're lighter, they're more responsive, they feel better on the sticks, they have a better FPV feed. Whereas this one, it's all about capturing that footage. So it really, I don't know, it depends what sort of flying are you going to do with it. What sort of flying do you guys do? Would you use something like this? Are you more after the flight footage? Let me know. Let these guys know too. Like, is this a worthwhile pursuit for people to go after? All that sort of stuff. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that. Just a little bit of fun for a different video. Share your love down below. Subscribe for more FPV related content. I'm about to go crank the heater. And as always, happy flying.